Hello lovies, welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, my name is Nyx and this is a space where we explore the energetic and cosmic patterns moving through our lives so we can navigate them with more awareness, more intention, and a lot more self-trust. So today we're stepping into Virgo season. You know, if you've been with me through this series, you already know we've been on a journey, a real layered, sometimes heavy, but always purposeful journey. Now, each season has asked something specific of us. Each one has built on the one before it. And now, here we are, Virgo season. Virgo season doesn't arrive loudly, it doesn't roar, it doesn't demand the spotlight. Virgo arrives quietly, it rolls up its sleeves, and it gets to work. Now, after all that fire, all that eclipse energy, all that intensity of Leo season, Virgo is the energy that says, okay, now let's refine what's left, not tear it down, refine it. Because Virgo understands something that most louder seasons don't always make space for. That the most powerful thing you can do after a breakthrough is tend to it, nurture it, get precise about it. Make sure that what you're building actually has roots. And there is significant cosmic energy supporting that refinement this season. We have a partial lunar eclipse in Pisces arriving the night of August 27th into the early hours of August 28th, depending on your time zone, okay? Now, technically, it's classified as a partial because only 96% of the moon will be covered by Earth's shadow. It will look almost total, but don't let the label fool you. This is the final eclipse on the Virgo-Pisces axis, a cycle that began back in September 2024, a 2-year chapter completing. Eclipse season always has at least one more thing to say, but we'll get into that as we move through the cosmic weather. But first, let's take a breath and set our space. So if you could please take a nice deep breath in and exhale that out. All right, I open this space with the intention that whatever comes through today serves the highest good of everyone listening. May it bring courage and the kind of honest self-reflection that actually moves things forward. May this space offer protection as we navigate what's surfacing in our inner world and in our outer lives and on the many paths we are each walking. And may every person listening feel supported, guided, and held as we move through this season together. Nice. Take another deep breath in. And let's exhale it out. Lovely. All right, let's go. Now let's talk about the archetype of Virgo, shall we? Now, Virgo is the 6th sign in the zodiac, a mutable earth sign ruled by Mercury. And before anyone sighs and thinks, oh, Virgo, the perfectionist, the overthinker, the one who color codes everything, I want to invite you to go a little bit deeper than that with me, because the surface read on Virgo, as always, misses the most interesting parts. At its core, Virgo is the divine healer, the maiden, the steward of the harvest, and that imagery matters more than most people may realize, because the harvest isn't just about abundance, it's about discernment. It's the process of separating the wheat from the chaff, of looking at everything that's grown and asking, what is worth keeping, what is true, what is pure, useful, and what needs to be released. That's Virgo's real gift, not perfectionism, discernment. There's also something about the Virgo archetype that gets constantly misunderstood, and that's the word virgin, if you're aware, because historically, the word didn't mean what we think it means today. The maiden archetype represents an entity whose power and identity belongs entirely to themselves, not defined by another, not completed by an external force, whole, sovereign, self-contained. That's actually like radical energy, especially in a world that constantly tells you that you need something or someone outside of yourself to be complete. Virgo says, no, you're already whole. Now, Virgo is also ruled by Mercury, as I mentioned earlier, the planet of communication, thought, and information, which means this archetype has a brilliant, analytical, detail-oriented mind. Virgo can walk into any situation and immediately see what's working, what's not, and exactly what needs to be adjusted. That's not anxiety, that's a gift, a finely tuned intelligence that when directed well, creates extraordinary things. But here's where the shadow lives with Virgo. When Virgo energy is unbalanced, the same analytical mind turns inward and becomes hypercritical. The discernment becomes judgment. The precision becomes rigidity. The desire to improve becomes an obsession with what's wrong. And the quiet devotion that makes Virgo so powerful becomes exhausting. Endless attempt to fix everything, including people who didn't ask to be fixed. The shadow of Virgo isn't caring too much, it's directing that care so harshly inward that it becomes self-abandonment dressed up as self-improvement. So the medicine of the season is essentially this: use that brilliant Virgo mind or Virgo energy to refine, not to punish, to discern, not to diminish, to tend to what's growing, not to tear apart what isn't perfect yet. And above all, have the courage to apply all of that devotion and care to yourself first, right? Now, let's talk about the cosmic climate surrounding Virgo season, because the lineup here is genuinely supportive, with one significant emotional moment mid-season that deserves our full attention. So let me just pull up my notes. Okay, that was quick. Nice. Just let me take a sip. Okay, so Virgo season officially begins August 22nd when the sun enters Virgo, and right away the energy shifts. After Leo's fire and drama and eclipse intensity, like I said earlier, Virgo brings us back to earth. Literally grounded, practical, detail-oriented earth energy. The invitation is to organize, to refine, to tend to the everyday things that support your bigger vision, okay? Now on August 25th, Mercury goes into Virgo, its home sign. And this is significant because Mercury is Virgo's ruling planet. When Mercury comes home to Virgo, the mind sharpens, communication becomes more precise, analytical thinking is heightened. This is an excellent window for problem solving, for editing projects, for having the honest conversations that you may have been putting off, because the words are clearer and more grounded now. And then just 2 days later, so August 27th, the sun conjuncts Mercury in Virgo, a moment of brilliant mental clarity. That's like a fog lifting. If there's something that you've been trying to understand about yourself, about a situation, about where you're headed, pay attention to what arrives in your mind around this time, okay? Insights that land here tend to be significant. And then almost immediately after that clarity arrives on August 28th, brings the full moon and lunar eclipse in Pisces. Now, a Pisces eclipse sitting opposite the Virgo sun creates specific tension. Virgo says analyze, refine, and get it right. Pisces says surrender, feel, let go of the need to control. And an eclipse on that axis doesn't let you sit comfortably in it either. It asks you to hold both. The clarity that you gain on August 27th and then the emotional release that the eclipse brings on August 28th, that sequencing is not random, okay? The universe is giving you the realization first and then the space to actually feel what that realization means and let go of what no longer belongs in this next chapter. Now, eclipse energy is always amplified. You may feel more emotionally raw around this time, more tender, things from your past may surface, yay, old grief, old patterns, old versions of yourself that are ready to be released. Give yourself grace here, okay? That's not regression. Think of it more as completion. And then on September 10th, we have a new moon in Virgo, a fresh start, new intentions around your health, your daily rhythms, your routines, the practical foundations of the life you're building. After the emotional depth of the eclipse, the new moon is like that exhale, the quiet, grounded new beginning. Underneath all of this, though, Pluto continues its retrograde in Aquarius, so still working its slow, deep transformation beneath the surface, and the lunar nodes are now settled into the Leo-Aquarius axis, continuing that 18-month, remember I said, I think it was like the last one or one of my weekly readings, it's an 18-month collective conversation and individual expression versus community responsibility, sorry. I got my font a little too small. But Virgo offers something that has been rare in this series so far. A moment to breathe, okay, to tend to refine without the chaos of eclipses and retrogrades pulling the rug from out underneath you every other week. Thank the goddess. So use this energy and this season wisely, all right? Now, with all that said, let's dive into the cards. Alrighty, lovies, with all that as our backdrop, let's move into the cards and see what guidance wants to come through collectively for Virgo season. Now remember, this is just a collective reading, so please only take what resonates, leave what doesn't, and trust your own intuition as you watch and listen. And by all means, if anything moves for you that you'd love to share, I'd love for you to put it in the comments. I love seeing what you guys have to say. Now I'm just going to quickly just run through the layout and then we'll dive right in. So the first row here is going to speak to the collective energy. That's the deeper internal themes that we're essentially or potentially navigating through Virgo season. The second row here is how the energy may be showing up in our day-to-day reality. The third row here is about spiritual support and guidance available to us as we move through the season. And then at the end, I'm going to pull from this deck for basically how we can integrate throughout Virgo season. And then I will pull an affirmation or message from my little bowl over here before we close out this reading. With that said, let's get into it. So first up, we've got Audacity. Now, Audacity is saying, don't ever fucking apologize for who you are, what you want, or how you want to do it. And honestly, I love that for the first card for Virgo season, because when I think about the through line that's been moving through this entire series, especially coming out of Leo season, Leo was essentially asking us to stop performing and start shining from a place of authenticity, right? And now Virgo season is essentially piggybacking off of that and taking it maybe a little step further. It's not just asking us to shine, it's asking us to have the gall, the gumption, the audacity to stand in your truth, to stand in your power, to stand in yourself as yourself, unapologetically, without shrinking, without explaining yourself, without editing who you are to make other people feel comfortable. And I think that too many of us have spent too much of our lives apologizing for our unique aspects, right? Our unique characteristics, the ways that we're different, the ways we show up differently, the ways we don't technically fit the mold. And we have to remember that the cookie cutter version of a person isn't real. It never was. And you're being asked this season to release your grip on the confinements of somebody else's version of who you should be, to know yourself, to learn yourself, to ask yourself the hard questions. For instance, when you had that recent conversation, were you speaking from a place of authority or were you speaking from wounds? When you showed up in a certain situation, were you operating as your most authentic self, or were you still moving through someone else's lens? What I feel strongly is you do the people around you a disservice when you're not operating as your most authentic self. And when you don't have the audacity to live life on your own terms, you are doing yourself the biggest disservice of all, which is not actually living when you think about it, not actually being, you're just doing within the confinements of somebody else's rules and regulations. So have the audacity to live, okay? To speak, to sing, to dress however you want and show up however you want. Have the audacity to be creative, to go after the thing, to tell somebody you love them, to start that side hustle, to take that rest day without feeling guilty, to go and get yourself pampered, to set that boundary, okay? Have the audacity to choose yourself, to fight for what is awakening inside of you, to respectfully take up space, and have the fucking audacity to love yourself. I love that for the first card. Next up here, we have Enchanted. And Enchanted says, believe in the power of your personal magic. This is the key to owning your truth. I feel like this is a direct continuation of what just came through. Because if Audacity is asking you to stand in your light, Enchanted is asking you to believe in it. Believe in yourself, believe in your magic, in your medicine, in your passions, in your dreams, and your vision for your life. In the bigger picture you've been holding in your mind and slowly, steadily building in your tangible world. Because when you truly believe in yourself, when you genuinely trust who you are, nobody can tell you anything about yourself that's going to stick, right? That is you standing in your personal authority. That is you owning who you are unapologetically. That is you not letting anybody else's lens bend or break you. So I'm going to ask you something right now. How
how well do you actually know yourself? Because imagine if you had taken the energy that you spent trying to fit this imaginary mold that other people created for you, parents, bosses, peers, colleagues, friends, whomever, and instead poured that energy into learning yourself, into the things that make you tick, the things that make you come alive, your hard yeses and your absolute no's, into the things that light you up and the things that drain you, learning those things, right? Would you be a different person today? Would you see yourself or your life differently? There's this glow that some people walk around with. You've seen it. Like, think of that person that's walking down the hallway or something and they just look like they're radiating. You can't quite name it, but you could feel it. What you are feeling is someone who has done the work, who has walked through their own fire to get to that place of knowing themselves, right? That glow isn't permanent. Life still happens. It gets brighter and sometimes it dims, but the knowing underneath it, that is unshakable. That's what this card, I feel, is pointing us towards. Know your glow, learn what illuminates it, and believe, like truly believe in your own magic enough to let it lead you. Okay? Now we have shadow. So do not fear the darkness. This is where the truth goes to hide. Okay, this is interesting that the first two cards came in so empowering, so bold, so statement making. And then this one arrives like a quiet, steady hand on the shoulder saying, and don't forget this part. With all this empowerment, there's still going to be a whisper, but what if? Still going to be that voice that says, yeah, but, and this card is here to address that directly. So don't fear the darkness. This is where the truth goes to hide, right? But as I read that again, I'm also hearing something else, that this is where the truth comes to shine, because we have to like close the umbrella or peel back that layer so the light can actually reach it. The truth is the light in the clouds. The truth is the light in the shadows, and the truth, that's you. Your shadows are nothing more than a compass. They show you where you have been abandoning yourself, where you allowed others to take advantage of you, where you didn't love yourself the way you needed to, where you gave yourself away too much, where boundaries should have been set before the wound formed. They're not here to hurt you. They never were. And when you actually go dancing in the shadows, when you befriend them, when you listen to what they're trying to tell you, that is when you can start truly believing in your magic. That is when the audacity of card 1 and the enchantment of card 2 can become more real, because you can't fully own your light if you're still running from half of yourself, okay? So don't fear what you don't know. Fear what you know and don't do anything about. Because in the shadows, there's a lot we are aware of and don't do anything about. But there's also things that we're unaware of that need to be explored. And in that exploration, a lot of what we feared gets put to bed. It gets debunked. That unknowing automatically gets stamped with fear, right? But in the exploring, so much of that fear dissolves. So go in, not necessarily with armor. Don't go in with armor. Go in with curiosity, with the knowing that what you find in there is not your enemy. It's just the part of you that's been waiting the longest to be met. All right, now next up we have the heart. Okay, so matters of the heart is what I'm getting. So when I say matters of the heart, I want to be very clear that this can apply to just about everything. A romantic connection, a friendship, how you feel about your career or your creative work, your family, and almost always, if not always, yourself. What I'm getting with this card is that love, your connection to it, your belief in it, how you receive it, how you perceive it, and how you give it out is being brought through some tests this season. Not heart-wrenching tests necessarily, but more honest ones. When you look at this row above, right? The audacity to stand in yourself, to believe in your magic, to have the courage to explore your shadows. This is how all of that is going to show up, through pathways of love, through the relationships and connections that mirror back to you exactly where you are within yourself, okay? A lot of us grew up with a distorted perception of love, right? Crafted by wounds that haven't healed, by pain that's still speaking louder than clarity, by somebody else's version of what love is supposed to essentially look like. And so I want to ask you another question. What is love to you? In any capacity, what does love of self actually mean to you? What does loving your work, your people, your life actually feel like in your body? Take some time to sit with that, okay? And if this is an area you want to go deeper in, I always recommend this book. I come back to it time and time again. I literally call it Bible, not the Bible, so please don't come for me, but it holds so much truth for me. And the book is called All About Love by Bell Hooks. For some people, it's an easy read. For others, it will break you down before it builds you back up, because it challenges everything you think about. It challenges everything you think you know about love versus what love truly is for you. It's a book. I recommend it to many of my clients when they're reestablishing what love means to them in their lives. And I feel right now, some of you, this could be exactly what is needed. What I'm also feeling here is that there is something new coming into the energy field here, a freshness, an energy of attraction, of elevation, of romanticizing your life. Not just your relationships with people, but with your work, your goals, your daily experiences. Romanticize it all. And I think that romanticization is exactly what's being invited in and tested this season. Okay? So next up here, we've got crystals, and this is all about achievement. Okay. The progress some of you have been making, whether it's in personal development, in your career, in your relationships, and something you're building, is about to be put through another layer of testing, Not in a doom and gloom way though. The energy actually feels surprisingly light and playful, but the playfulness is like the sugar on top of a very intentional invitation here. I think some of you are not recognizing the work you've done, not acknowledging how far you've actually come, and that lack of recognition of yourself by yourself is what is being tested here. Some of you are out here building something very profound, something magnificent, but it hasn't hit the center stage yet, and you don't know if it ever will. And that doubt is starting to speak louder than the evidence of everything you've already laid down. So I want you to think of it like a puzzle, not your traditional puzzle where you can see the edges clearly and match the colors and know exactly where each piece belongs. This is a puzzle where you have to trust that every piece you lay down is landing exactly where it's supposed to, because you can't always see the full picture from where you're standing right now. But it's getting there. You're getting there. Whether it's with yourself, and you'll start seeing yourself more clearly sooner than you think, okay? With another person, the steps you're taking alongside them are moving you towards what you actually want, as long as you're being honest in the process. Or it could be your career, the bricks you've laid down, the things you let go of so you can hold on to something more aligned, the faith you've been asked to hold even when the evidence hasn't fully arrived yet. I'm hearing two words, resolved and absolved. And then underneath that, very simple, it's going to pay off. But if you don't believe it, you're going to have a hell of a time seeing it try to land. Okay? Now we've got water, surrender. Right away, I'm hearing, will you wave the white flag already? And not in the sense of giving up. Not even close. More like, can you please put the bullshit down once and for all? Can you give up the grip on what isn't working for you? Can you surrender the connections that are draining your life force, keeping you small, keeping you quiet, keeping you dim? Can you please be done with the fuckery? Okay, because by now you should have already surrendered to the process. And if you haven't, then yes, that's the invitation here. But for those of you who have surrendered to the process and are still backpacking some old weight with you as you move forward because you're either afraid that if you let it go, you'll disappoint someone or you won't get to where you need to go. I'm going to say this with all the love I have, drop the bag. Drop the bag. Drop the weight. Surrender that, because it's not doing you any good. That song, Bag Lady, from Erykah Badu, I spoke on it before. It's coming back right now. Now, when you see a water card, I also want to say just stay hydrated. Drink your water. It's important. Your body needs it, especially right now. But because emotionally, some of you are going to be nudged towards vulnerability this season, towards taking the armor off and actually meeting yourself and allowing others to meet you in your totality. Okay? I want to speak to the different layers of that really quickly. There are parts of you that you haven't met because you're simply unaware that they need meeting. There are parts of you There are parts you know are there, but you don't want to look at them because the last time you did, it wasn't pretty. And then there are parts of you where you flip-flop with it. You kind of dip your toe in and then you kind of run away. And you gain a little understanding and then you shut the door quickly because the discomfort feels like too much. Let me say this as clearly as I can. You have the capacity and capability to meet yourself in the darkest of corners. If you have the capacity to hold space for other people when they're at their darkest moments, and you do, I know you do, then you absolutely have the capacity to meet yourself there too. And you will survive it. You will come out of it, not once, many times, in different seasons, through different layers, in different ways. But depending on what you choose, you will either meet those moments as the exact same person you are right now, or as an elevated version of yourself because you chose to surrender what wasn't serving you. So take the armor off, stand in your vulnerability, meet yourself in the dark, and pull yourself back into the light with the support of the people that genuinely love you. The water is asking you to flow, not to resist, not to force. Just surrender the bullshit and flow. Okay? Now, up into spiritual support and guidance. So here we have knowledge. Okay, so what I'm feeling from this is remember that you are a student of life, not a master. Okay, no matter how much you know, the world is always offering you more wisdom. And right now that wisdom is available to you. So before you proceed on any project, before you conclude on any situation or connection, make sure you've gathered a healthy amount of information first. When I say a healthy amount, I don't mean obsess over every detail. I mean, make sure your key questions have been answered and then move. Some of you right now, however, may be connecting with a mentor or a teacher, starting a new course or a program. Congratulations, that is a beautiful thing. The expansion of your knowledge base is never ever wasted, okay? And if you are someone who's in the position of being a mentor or a teacher, tell your story. Okay, your story is your medicine. It is a gift to the people who are listening. Now, you don't have to share your most vulnerable chapter if you're not ready, but the journey of how you got to where you are, what inspired you, what shaped you, what led you to this path, that is worth sharing because they need to hear it, right? Now, for those of you who want to go deeper with your spirituality, meditate. Pray, seek out an elder, a pastor, a spiritual guide, whatever resonates with your practice. For me, prayer is how you talk to the higher power, God, guides, angels, ancestors, whatever language you use. And meditation is how you listen. So do one or both. Just create the space to receive. Okay? And here we have Earth. Okay, so Earth card for Virgo season, an Earth sign. The card number here is number 11. The previous card here, 34. 3 plus 4 is 7, which carries an energy of like good luck, alignment, things moving in your favor. And then we land here with 11, manifestation energy. I just had to acknowledge that because it made me smile. So with this card, enjoy the space you're in right now. The tangible, physical, sensory world. Find the things that bring you joy and then actually enjoy them. Have the audacity, and yes, I'm circling back to the first card intentionally, have the audacity to enjoy the parts of your life even when everything isn't perfect, okay? Dote on your physical body this season. Go get a massage, that facial, the mani-pedi, go to a sound bath, go get some energy work. Your body is the home for your soul. It is your temple, so treat it accordingly. Now, meditation is the medicine for the mind. Breathwork is medicine for the body. Movement is medicine for both. Sound is medicine for the nervous system. So get grounded. Love on yourself in this physical world in whatever way feels most nourishing to you. Okay? And when something good happens in your life, honor it. Celebrate it. I feel like I've been saying that for a while in the weekly updates. Celebrate the good things. Be respectfully loud about it because the people who genuinely love you are celebrating you. And when they see you standing in your light and your power, it gives them hope for themselves. The ones who want to scoff at it, though, that's their own work to do. So don't worry about them. Allow yourself to experience the good things fully without waiting for other people, without waiting for the other shoe to drop. And allow yourself to experience the not so good things fully too, and let them teach you, grow you, evolve you. Both serve a purpose, okay? Both are a part of the journey. All right? All right, let me just shuffle this real quick. Pull out that integration card. We're almost at the end. Top bench. So we are with the ego. Okay, so the ego is basically, what's it trying to say? Okay, when most people hear ego, they immediately go to like fear, lack mindset, arrogance, that pettiness. And while those are aspects of it, for sure, I don't think that's the deepest layer of what's coming through here. What I'm feeling with this card right now is a very specific question. Whose voice is the loudest within you right now? Is it the egoic voice, the one that would rather repeat the same cycles over and over again because it's what it knows? The one that keeps you stuck in the uncomfortable because it's at least familiar, the one that has to dominate, that has to win, that has to keep things exactly as they are because that's the confinement it knows how to operate within? Or is it the voice of your higher self, your guides, your ancestors, whatever your divine support looks like? The voice that is asking you to step into discomfort because it knows that discomfort is where you actually grow. The one that says, do the scary thing, face the fear, because that is what awakens life within you. Now, your ego will always want to operate within the known, and the known is often uncomfortable, but it's comfortable because it's known. Whereas your intuition, your higher self, the deeper part of you that knows the truth, that voice is always asking you to step into the unknown, to do the thing that scares you because that is what actually moves you. So as you integrate this season, when you're facing the emotions that are surfacing, a conversation that needs to happen, a situation that's starting or coming to an end, ask yourself that question first. Whose voice is speaking right now? The one with clarity and understanding because you've done the work, you've sat with yourself, you've explored this enough to know you're not projecting from a place of wounds, or the ego, the one that wants to protect the familiar, dominate the conversation, keep things exactly as they are because change feels too risky. That discernment, that is how you integrate everything this season is about to bring you through. All right, so before we go, I'm going to leave you with one more message. Sorry, that's loud. All right. And the message is, you are allowed to not know which direction to go right now. The river does not panic at the fork. It pauses, it gathers, and then it moves always towards its natural course. Trust that you have a natural course. Trust that you will find it. The intention, I trust my natural course to find me. This is from an event that I recently did just a few weeks ago with Aligned by Alessia. If you like yoga and Pilates, please follow her on Instagram. She's absolutely darling. I don't know why I closed that. That is your message. Take that with you, beloveds. All right, so if we step back and look at the full picture of what came through today, Virgo season is not asking you to be perfect. It's asking you to be precise about who you actually are. After Leo burned away the performance, Virgo is asking you to look at what remains, to tend to it, to refine it, to apply that brilliant, discerning, devoted Virgo energy to the most important project you will ever work on. That be yourself, beloveds, okay? So have the audacity to stand in your truth, even when it's different from everyone around you. Believe in that beautiful magic of yours, even when the evidence hasn't fully arrived yet. Go into your shadows, not with fear, but with curiosity and a compass. Surrender what is draining you. Stay a student. Come home to your body. And when the ego gets loud, pause and ask yourself, whose voice is speaking? Because the work you have been doing season by season, layer by layer, reading by reading is not for nothing. It is landing, it is taking root, it is becoming something real in your life, whether you could fully see it yet or not. I promise you, Virgo season is the quiet, devoted, precise tending of everything you've worked so hard to grow, okay? Don't apologize for any of it. Not for who you are, not for what you want, and not for how you want to do it. Just have the audacity. Happy birthday to my meticulous, devoted, deeply intelligent Virgos out there. The world runs more smoothly because of you, even when you don't get the credit for it. Anyways, until next time, please take care of that beautiful energy of yours, guys, and I will see you soon. Okay, bye.